After we discussed the mitzvah from mezuzah, after we discussed the mitzvah of tefillin, after we discussed the topic of stam, now let's continue on to tzitzis. It says in the Torah, every day we say Kriya Shema twice a day. Dabel b'nei Yisrael ma'at alayim. V'hosi lem tzitzis al kamfei v'gdeim d'reisam. Should put on tzitzis in the kamfei v'gdeim d'reisam. The pasuk says Gedilun tasachol abis kamfei ksisro asher chasabo. Should put on tzitzis. Yisrael says Hartim is kamas Hashem. Chazal or maflik b'shvachoi tzitzis. Well, the shmira el yoyne that gives to the people. Kedusha that brings upon a person the spar of Marach Barichas Adaylo. We have to understand that our matzav today, the Klal Yisrael, from 1 to 3 years old, wearing tzitzis, being kind of mitzvah, and Davik and Rabban Shalom through the mitzvah of tzitzis. This skula, this kind of mitzvahs was not around for hundreds of years, and as we'll see, Bez Hashem, we'll get straight into it. Text Yishonim, Masechet Shabbos, speaks about the avoin of tzitzis, bittul mitzvah tzitzis. Text says over there that the einish of bittul mitzvah tzitzis is dafka b'yameim. Only in their generation, times of Chazal, that the derech was to wear the begotten had 4 corners. Dafka someone that has a begadel kamfais and doesn't wear tzitzis, he'll get an einish. I'm not wearing tzitzis. He says, but today no one wears begotten like they wore in times of Chazal. The whole style of dressing changed. They didn't wear pants. They had dresses which had 4 corners. And times in Rishonim, they didn't have any more these types of dress. So that's why with Potter, you don't have to wear tzitzis. He says, still, it's good to buy one. Every day we should buy one. Of course, we learn from Moshe Rabbeinu. Up in Batza make a din. You don't have to. We don't wear begotten dalat kafis like we're like we didn't have begotten dalat kafis, so you don't have to wear it. And Taisus in Erech, that was Taisus in Shabbos, Daf Lamed Beis, Taisus in Erech, and Daf Beis says, same thing. And Ezra writes, anyone that wears the talis that has dalat kafis, Einay Elomenat Tmuim, is a double Tmuah, so there's no einish for not wearing tzitzis. Now, discussion came up in Taisus and other Rishonim in another place. The Gemara speaks about that you have to put on tzitzis, you bury the mason with tzitzis. Because, why? Because people come and to the Bikvarim, and it's a loiger rush. You're wearing tzitzis, and they don't have tzitzis. You're embarrassing the mason. So that's why we bury them with tzitzis. Sub Taisus, Nida Nadal Samach Aleph on base, that this that you give the mason tzitzis is only in the times of Chazal that they would wear tzitzis in their life. So if you don't put it for the mason, they'll be embarrassed. He says about Achshav. In today's generation, she'ein hakalosh and tzitzis b'chayim. People don't wear tzitzis in their lives. If you put them tzitzis on when they die, it's maybe even worse, a bigger embarrassment if you put tzitzis when they're dead. Because in the life he didn't wear them when he's dead, he do wear it. So we see for Taisus she'ein hakalosh that not everyone puts on tzitzis, so we don't put on tzitzis for the mace either. And the lashon of Taisus in Brichas Daf Yud Ches Amud Aleph is Afshav Avoni Shegam B'Chiyenu Ein Minhagenu Lubash Tam Tzitzis. That our meaning is that we don't always wear tzitzis, so if we put it on the mace, it'll also be the mace will be embarrassed to not put on tzitzis for the mace. And the same thing, by parents the same thing. Shegam Ani B'Chiyenu Ein Kol Kach Minhagenu Lubash Tzitzis. It's not our meaning so much to wear tzitzis. And the truth is Ravon, he writes to his Eidim, mitzvah, you asked me, Sha'alni Chasani, Reburi asked me, Mitzvah chamura k'may tzitzis, the choshev mitzvah chamura, the chaybetik mitzvah tzitzis, shishkula kenega kol ha-mitzvahs. Why do we make all this? Ma'ashnod makil ba'arei v'yisrael, rei kol Yisrael, she'im esat b'chol yoyim. What is the reason that we're making tzitzis, that most of the Klal Yisrael don't wear tzitzis? He says, because tzitzis not chayv is gavra, but that was mitzias. And we mentioned already from the Simag, that he went around being darshaning with that chalemis, and the Eibishter made the grace. Everyone got petrified, and they did tshuva, and he was going for thousands and tens of thousands of people to mechazik themselves with tefillah, mezuzahs, and tzitzis. And the Sefer Yeshurim, and Yeshua Envel brings down from the Masas of Psachia, the Avav and Ri Halavim Balatesis, said he came to Baghdad and he saw people ki Matzah Baghdad Anoshim Utfim Matufin Betalalisa Shal Tzemeh and Tzitzis. He saw people that actually had talif Shal Tzemeh and Tzitzis. Was the Shloshchiach. The Ramah Simon Ches writes, so Haminig Anog Achshov, the minig today is Shekol Yeshamayim Yeshla Talis Gadol. The minig is that everyone that's Yeshamayim has a Talis Gadol. Shemasatme B'Shachris. That you wear B'Shachris and Mavochan Alav. Hamadaktik, those that have a daktik, Leishin Oid Arba Kafis Kol Yom. They wear another Talis cotton a whole day. So we see two things from the Ramah. First of all, not everyone wore a Talis Gadol with davening. Not only that, the Yeshamayim. But the people that have a dactic, not just Yerushalayim, but dactic, they wear talis cotton the whole day. In times of Ramah, we see that most of the Klal Yisrael did not wear talis cotton, and only the dactic. And Sefer Shil Zaysim from the Rabboni Taimon, he writes, "Yankari isi kol gebe in zinim tzitzis liras all kol yoyim." No one was wearing tzitzis the whole day. Don't wear tzitzis. The Rambam, and the truth is, we have to point out that the Rambam actually says you shouldn't wear her. Ain't roy la'adam chassid. She only a chassid. She yif atzmai mitzvah zu. Rambam writes that even if you don't have a chiv to buy a talis to be misatef in it, but still, if you don't have tzitzis, you should be mishtadel yourself. You should be if you're adam chassid. You should not be patting yourself in the mitzvah tzitzis. And in Rambam writes, he speaks about in Sefer Maspik about people that try to make believe like the chashuv people, the chassidim. He says one of the things they do is they wear in Maspik lishat tzitzis. They wear tzitzis the whole day. That in order they should chashavu l'chassid. And you look in this in Sefer Divrei Shalom Emes from Morocco, and you see his fakir. It was a whole tumult that. When he arrives over there, that the talis cotton is only with his chasidus, and anyone that wears the talis cotton that's not a chassid is considered yuara, and that's why most of the doesn't wear talis cotton. Only Talmidei Chachamim with horsemen, and he brings down from Yosef Misais that the minig Morocco always was that only Talmidei Chachamim for horsemen wore talis gadol, and no one had a chutzpah to wear a talis, even the Shabbos. In Pas, in the city of Pas, rich people, the Lamdonim, they had a chutzpah. They started wearing a talis and Shabbos. We're talking about the talis gadol, and it was a whole tumult, the doilim and Rabbanim and Talmidim, and it should not be done only by chashuv people. He writes there was big mitzvah to wear talis gadol because you had to wash off more often, and the tzitzis would get ripped. And let's talk about talis cotton. That it was a big thing. You have to wash it, and the tzitzis get ripped, and you can't bring it into Beis HaKisei. He held. And he says that's why only a chassid, someone that's the chashuv, that should not matrich himself and should not wear it. So that was the matziv in Klal Yisrael. Most of Klal Yisrael did not wear talis katanim, and even talis gadol they didn't wear. But although most Klal Yisrael didn't wear, you look at the Ritva, the Miki Yosef, he brings down the minig wasn't to wear talis tzitzis. He says about achshav til lakel kirei b'nei adam zrizim mitzvah tzitzis, the zara is a mitzvah tzitzis. Miki Yosef says the same thing, that even though anyone talis gadol, but most people wear talis cotton. Talis is kind of solution. That's what Nuki Yosef writes. So this is a little generational. Later they were machasking themselves, but still not in every place was it like that. But so they're wearing talisis ktanim, like the Makamosh says, they're wearing it. The problem is they weren't the right shear. And the Rebbeis can bring down the Moshe Simches and the Taz. They bring down from the March already that already in the Tkufas Arishonim that those that were wearing talisis ktanim they didn't have the right shear. The Taz is Fatzachi Kam Gedolim Hamoin Am that they screamed Gedolim on the Hamoin Am that the main Dalad Kamfa is cotton oid the Ein Boisher Klal Kisil cotton. And the Mordechai already mentioned that that's what he writes. And Kamsu writes, but when he's saying cotton, they're not makban in the sheer talis cotton, shafila cotton any shuk, even a small child doesn't go out such a small thing. And they're not being engaged in the mitzvah, they're making the brachas of al-talas and the over Isra Tzah and Shabbos. Yeah. And the Eretz Tzvi, he goes to Lamatchus, why the Taka Lush Talish in his share says that it's not yet in the mitzvah, and when he says it's not a problem halachically to carry in a Shabbos, and Sham. But he also, the mitzvah was that they didn't wear a talis cotton, tzitz that was a share. And the Ustam was in the Meshach Hadaris do a very funny in Hagim they would wear the tzitzis for the chinuch they would give the children, they would just give them wasn't kosher. The tzitzis itself, the chutim weren't kosher. In the Chavitz Mechoin Haroim Mishpat, Yehuda Yaakov was marking that the minig in certain places were about this thing that they would have just strings, big fat strings, which were made for tzitzis ulishma. So this was the matzah of tzitzis. The Klaus were working kind of mitzvah tzitzis for hundreds of years, and once they were mekayim it, it wasn't the right shear. Baruch Hashem today, hopefully, Bez Hashem, most of the tzitzis is made under Ashkacha, has a shear shel cotton miskasavoi reshurubai. Okay. This is all coming from the Toik of Atzaris. This is a chelik from the Avelis of Beinam and Tzarim, and part of the Avelis is we have to recognize what we are missing, what they were missing, and every generation has their own things to look into, and we have to take it further. There's so many different things that we could work on, and there are so many tikkunim, but just the next step. Hashem wants to take us out of this place. Time is ticking, the clock is ticking, and it's time to get out of here. And Hashem is making the time faster and faster. We're smaller people, but we want to be Marzeh Atar L'Yoshnoi. As Hashem, maybe that will be the next year. Before we get back to the Hanchomas that Hashem is giving us with the Ribi Atayr and Ribi Madregas of the generations. And Hashem should help, there should be Zeicha to Kol Sabla Al Yishalayim, Zeicha V'Royin Ben Chamasai.